Absurd claims by Hollywood celebs that made no sense. Gwyneth Paltrow. You should steam your vagina for wellness. Gwyneth Paltrow. At one point, Gwyneth proudly promoted something called vaginal steaming on her lifestyle website, Goop. According to her, sitting over a steaming pot of herbs wasn't just relaxing, it was spiritually cleansing and could balance your hormones. She claimed it was an ancient Korean practice that modern women should embrace to feel more connected to their femininity. Sounds steamy, but not in a good way. Medical professionals immediately jumped in to say, please don't do this. Gynecologists warned that steaming your vagina is not only unnecessary, it can actually be dangerous. The delicate tissues can get irritated or even burned. Plus, the vagina is self-cleaning. It doesn't need an herbal sauna to do its job. Oh, the internet had a field day. Social media lit up with memes and jokes. Late-night hosts like Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel roasted her on air. And countless doctors issued public statements debunking the whole thing. Even some fans of alternative medicine couldn't defend this one. It was the moment when Goop officially became a punchline. And Gwyneth, whether she meant to or not, became the poster child for celebrity wellness gone way too far. Kanye West. Slavery was a choice. In 2018, Kanye West walked into the TMZ newsroom wearing a red MAGA hat and during a live interview, casually dropped one of the most shocking statements of his career. He said, when you hear about slavery for 400 years, that sounds like a choice. The room fell silent and viewers around the world were left stunned. This wasn't a metaphor or a lyric. He meant it. Kanye seemed to be suggesting that the millions of African people enslaved over centuries somehow chose their fate. The backlash was immediate and intense. Historians, civil rights leaders, celebrities, and fans alike slammed the comment as offensive, dangerous, and completely ignorant of historical reality. Even someone from TMZ, Van Lathan, stood up to him in real time, calmly but firmly saying, while you're making music and being an artist, the rest of us in society have to deal with these threats to our lives. It was one of those rare moments where a celebrity was publicly confronted, and rightfully so. Kanye later tried to clarify, saying he was talking about mental slavery, not physical slavery, but by then, the damage was done. His words sparked debates, memes, and essays, and became one of the most infamous quotes ever uttered by a celebrity on live television. Whether it was a misunderstanding or a misguided attempt to provoke thought, it came across as detached from history and reality. Tom Cruise. Psychiatry is a pseudoscience. Back in 2005, Tom Cruise made headlines for all the wrong reasons when he publicly declared that psychiatry was a pseudoscience. It happened during an interview on NBC's Today Show with Matt Lauer. The conversation started off light, but quickly turned tense when Tom criticized actress Brooke Shields for taking antidepressants to treat postpartum depression. According to him, she didn't need medication, just vitamins and exercise. Then he went further, claiming there is no such thing as a chemical imbalance. People were stunned. Here was one of the biggest movie stars in the world, speaking with absolute certainty on something he wasn't remotely qualified to discuss. His views were heavily influenced by his involvement in Scientology, a belief system that openly rejects psychiatry. But this wasn't a private opinion anymore. It was a full-on crusade, broadcast to millions. Doctors, mental health experts, and advocacy groups immediately pushed back. The backlash was fierce. Mental illness is already stigmatized, and here was a global icon telling people struggling with depression that the help they were getting was fake. It wasn't just misinformed, it was dangerous. Even fans who admired Tom's films found it hard to digest. Many people pointed out how reckless it was to undermine science-based treatment with personal belief, especially when your voice carries that much weight. To this day, that interview stands out as one of the most uncomfortable and damaging celebrity moments ever aired on daytime TV. Terrence Howard. 1 × 1 = 2 in my logic. At first, it sounded like a joke, but he was completely serious. Terrence Howard, best known for his roles in Empire and Iron Man, once confidently claimed that 1 × 1 = 2, not a slip of the tongue. According to him, basic multiplication has been wrong this whole time. He explained his theory in a 2015 Rolling Stone interview and later expanded on it in various public talks. In his words, he had spent years developing his own unique system of logic and math, something he called teriology. And in teriology, apparently, 1 × 1 = 2. His reasoning, if one represents a thing and another one represents another thing, then combining them should result in 2 things, not still 1. Sounds poetic maybe, but mathematically, completely false. The internet had a field day with it. Mathematicians, teachers, and students alike couldn't believe what they were hearing. Social media exploded with memes. People joked that he had cracked a new universe. But beneath the laughs was a very real concern. Terrence wasn't joking. He even created diagrams and tried to pitch this logic as a legitimate theory, as if math textbooks around the world needed to be rewritten. It became one of the strangest celebrity beliefs ever made public, not because it was controversial or offensive, but because it was so confidently, undeniably wrong. Yet Terrence doubled down, telling people they'd understand it one day. Spoiler alert, we're still waiting. Megan Fox. I drink my fiance's blood for ritual purposes. When Megan Fox sat down for an interview and casually said she drinks her fiance Machine Gun Kelly's blood for ritual purposes, people didn't know whether to laugh, panic, or call someone. She didn't say it metaphorically, she meant it literally, and the internet couldn't stop talking about it. She explained that it's only a few drops now and then, not full-on vampire behavior. Still, the idea of drinking someone else's blood, especially in a romantic context, felt more like a horror film than a Hollywood love story. And when she called it a ritual, it raised even more eyebrows. Was it spiritual, symbolic, or just unsettling? Doctors and health experts were quick to chime in. Drinking human blood isn't just bizarre, it's medically dangerous. It can transmit diseases, cause infections, and put both people at serious risk. It's definitely not something anyone should romanticize or normalize, especially not in the public eye with millions of impressionable fans watching. But Megan doubled down. She described their relationship as intense, otherworldly, even cosmic. And in that context, the blood sharing felt to them like a sacred bond. To everyone else, just straight up disturbing. Whether it was a twisted love language or just an attention-grabbing headline, one thing's for sure. This confession added a very dark twist to celebrity PDA, and no one saw it coming. Jenny McCarthy, vaccines cause autism. Jenny McCarthy wasn't just a celebrity making noise. She became the face of a dangerously misinformed movement. For years, she publicly pushed the claim that vaccines cause autism, based on her personal experience after her son was diagnosed. She believed his condition was linked to childhood vaccinations and began using her platform to warn other parents. She appeared on talk shows, gave interviews, and even stood alongside anti-vaccine groups at rallies. To many, she came across as a passionate mother trying to protect children. But the problem was, what she was saying simply wasn't true. The medical community pushed back hard. Study after study proved there was no link between vaccines and autism. In fact, the original research that sparked the fear, a 1998 paper by Andrew Wakefield, was later completely discredited and retracted. Wakefield lost his medical license. Still, the damage was done, and Jenny's influence helped fuel a wave of vaccine hesitancy that lingered for years, and unfortunately, still persists today. Doctors, scientists, and public health experts criticized her stance, warning that it put lives at risk, especially vulnerable children who rely on herd immunity. As measles and other preventable diseases began to make a comeback, many pointed fingers at celebrity-driven misinformation. Jenny eventually tried to walk her claims back, saying she wasn't anti-vaccine, just pro-safe vaccine. But by then, her earlier statements had already made a lasting impact. It's a prime example of how celebrity voices, when misused, can lead to very real consequences. Shailene Woodley. I eat clay and sunbathe my vagina for health benefits. Shailene Woodley has always marched to the beat of her own drum, earthy, holistic, and unapologetically unconventional. But even her most loyal fans were taken aback when she revealed in multiple interviews that she eats clay and sunbathes her vagina. Yes, both, for health benefits. Let's start with the clay. Shailene said she consumes spoonfuls of bentonite clay, claiming it helps detox her body and removes heavy metals. According to her, she learned about it from a taxi driver and started researching online. Sounds harmless on the surface, but medical experts were quick to warn that eating clay can actually cause more harm than good, like constipation, heavy metal exposure, and digestive blockages. There's just no scientific backing for eating dirt to get clean. And then there's the sunbathing. She said in another interview that she likes to give her vagina some vitamin D. It sounds like a line from a satire skit, but she was serious. The idea, she said, was to absorb solar energy for hormonal balance and general wellness. Again, doctors were quick to weigh in. The skin in that area is incredibly sensitive, and exposing it to direct sunlight can increase the risk of burns, infections, and even skin cancer. There's no proven benefit to doing it, just a lot of potential discomfort. Both habits were met with a mix of confusion and eye rolls, even from fans who usually admire her free-spirited lifestyle. While natural living is one thing, these so-called health tips were seen by many as just dangerously misinformed. Charlie Sheen. I have tiger blood and Adonis DNA. In 2011, Charlie Sheen wasn't just making headlines. He was the headline. Fresh off being fired from 2.5 Men, he launched into a media blitz that felt more like a surreal fever dream than a press tour. That's when he famously declared, "I have tiger blood and Adonis DNA." He wasn't joking, or if he was, no one could tell. In a string of erratic interviews, Charlie claimed he was winning at life because of his tiger blood, saying it gave him powers no one else could understand. He described himself as a warlock, a rock star from Mars, and someone whose brain operated on a different frequency. It was all bizarre, and honestly a little sad. The outbursts were delivered with manic energy, rapid-fire speech, and a level of self-confidence that felt completely detached from reality. Many suspect suspected, and later confirmed, that he was going through a serious mental health and substance abuse crisis. Still, the internet couldn't resist. Tiger Blood became a viral meme. People made t-shirts, parody videos, and remix compilations of his rants. For a while, it was hard to scroll through social media without seeing a Charlie Sheen quote turned into comedy gold. But behind the chaos was a deeper concern. This wasn't just a quirky celebrity moment. It was a public unraveling. What looked like wild entertainment was actually a man in crisis, spiraling on camera while the world laughed. Eventually, Charlie sought help and later acknowledged the mess. But for a brief moment in pop culture, Tiger Blood wasn't just absurd. It was everywhere. Jaden Smith. School is the tool to brainwash youth. Jaden Smith has always been vocal about his anti-establishment views, but his 2013 tweet about school being a tool to brainwash youth really took things to another level. The tweet was part of his ongoing persona as the rebellious, free-thinking son of Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith. He shared his thoughts with his usual style, philosophical, cryptic, and a little too much for some to digest. The idea that the education system is a tool for controlling young minds didn't sit well with many, including educators, parents, and students alike. It was an oversimplification of a very complex system, one that has shaped society for centuries. Jaden's comment ignited a firestorm. Critics quickly pointed out that the education system isn't perfect, sure, but it's also not some grand conspiracy to brainwash children. It's an institution designed to teach basic skills, encourage critical thinking, and prepare young people for the real world. Some people saw his statement as naive and privileged. After all, Jaden grew up every opportunity handed to him, and the very system he was criticizing had allowed him to pursue his own interests, including acting and music. For many, his comments felt more like an immature rant than an insightful observation. While it's great to question authority and think for yourself, completely dismissing the importance of education comes off as, well, misguided. Sure, the system can improve. Brainwashing youth? That's a bit of a stretch. Jaden may have meant it as a challenge to the status quo, but to many, it just sounded like another example of youthful rebellion gone too far. Will Smith. We don't punish our kids because punishment is for slaves. Will Smith has always been an open book when it comes to his parenting style, but his 2013 comment about punishment raised eyebrows and sparked heated debates. In an interview, he said, "We don't punish our kids because punishment is for slaves." At first glance, it's a jaw-dropping statement, especially when coming from one of Hollywood's most beloved figures. Will was explaining his approach to discipline with his children, Jaden and Willow, emphasizing a more gentle, understanding method of parenting. He suggested that instead of punishing, he preferred guiding his kids with love and reasoning, wanting them to grow up feeling free rather than oppressed. But the way he framed his reasoning, that's where things got controversial. By tying the idea of punishment to slavery, he inadvertently made an uncomfortable comparison that many found offensive. Slavery is an intensely painful, deeply rooted part of history, and many felt his words trivialized the trauma and suffering of enslaved people. Critics quickly called out the remark, arguing that while the sentiment of non-punitive parenting might be valid, the comparison was misplaced. Discipline is a common part of parenting, and while there are certainly harmful and outdated methods, equating them to slavery seemed not only historically inaccurate, but also dismissive of the harsh realities that many people still face today. Supporters of Will's parenting approach, however, defended him, pointing out that his intention was to promote a more empathetic, open-minded approach to raising children. But the statement was so provocative that it overshadowed the larger conversation about evolving parenting styles, making it more about the wording than the message. In the end, it was a polarizing moment. Will Smith's attempt to share a unique parenting philosophy became tangled in a larger conversation about race, history, and the complexities of modern-day discipline. These absurd celebrity claims have certainly left us with plenty to talk about. What's your take on these outrageous statements? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more celebrity breakdowns.